Wednesday, Valerie Hunt, RunRx, Ask Me Anything. So we had two really good questions come through. And one of them was, hey, I was out trying the pulls and I felt great. And I was out just going and all of a sudden my calf started to hurt and I could not get out of it. So could you help me with what to do and why do you think that happened? So we will go over the calves first because it's very common in the beginning to feel the calves. So I want to talk about that. And then the second question was, I'm getting really tired. I'm trying to do what you say and I think I'm pulling my feet, but I'm getting really fatigued and I want to know what is the way around that. So first let's talk about calves. So let me come back a little bit. So one of the things that happens when you're running is, of course, all of your muscles are working. And so the first thing is people talk about, well, if my calves, are the calves working and running? Yes. However, this is important. When we're pulling our foot, when we are running, we are using our hamstring. So what that means is the calf is working. However, we are not asking the calf to do more work than it's already doing. So what happens is when I'm here in place, right, and I start to pull my foot, which is the action of running. So in place, you're just pulling up, 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 up. Well, when I'm in place and I have no ability to take my body weight anywhere because I'm standing here holding my body weight, I'm going to do what's called an active muscle contraction, which means I'm controlling the entire movement. So when I'm pulling here in place, I'm using my hamstring as the main muscle, but yes, the calf too, and I'm the one that's pulling, controlling the height of the pull. So in place, it's all you. You're going up, 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 okay? Which is incredibly fatiguing, and that's why no one runs in place. If you're on a treadmill, at least the belt's traveling, but running in place is very tiring. So if I try to use my legs to make my body go forward, I'm going to be even more tired. So let me just say a couple of things. So I put this curve here. So if you go outside, you could just stand in front of a curve for just a minute and pull without letting the foot come any higher than the curve. See? So first, you've got to kind of get yourself to understand that your job isn't how high you pull the foot. Your job is simply to pull the foot and then you've got to let go. And what's fun is once you let go of the pull, which will be about right here, the hamstring does that part. And the height of the pull is simply based on your speed, how much you're falling. So again, if I'm really running fast, fall, pull, you see my foot will probably pull pretty high. But if I'm just out for a run and just pull, see my foot won't pull as high. Because your hamstring is so incredibly smart. It will set the height based on you, how much you're falling. So if my calf is hurting, first I have to think, okay, my calf is hurting, I must be using it more than it wants to be used. So what happens then is you're either over pulling, means you're pulling higher than you need to, which is a big one. And the second one is maybe you're pushing. So I'm going to face this way for a minute. If I pull, so this is something else you can do. Stand with the curve behind you and pull. See, I can't feel the curve, but if I push, see, I'm going to kick that curve. So pushing is about using the calf as an action, you want to push. So if I push, you can see how that calf is going to be really engaged, and it didn't really need to be because that push really just took my body up and my leg went back, right? Because if I'm pulling, I'm not going to touch the curve. If I'm pushing or kicking, you see? So calf is either coming from the push back, or, this is also very common, we talk about the ball of the foot a lot. And so sometimes when you first start pulling, you want to look for the ball of the foot. So some of you are running, but you pull your foot up and then you look for the ground. You're trying to find the ball of your foot. So then you're working twice. Your first challenge is to let go of landing and to only think, I only have to do up. So when you're thinking about pulling, when you're running, I use the word up because that's the direction of the foot. So it's easier to think up, 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 right? If I can pull in place, right, and just kind of feel that, then you just have to be okay with thinking, if when I'm running, my legs are tired. It's okay if you're breathing hard, that's not a problem. That means you might be trying to go too fast initially for what you can hold, but breath is something you can work with. Pain, I don't want to have, right? So my legs aren't tired when I'm running. My breath might be hard, right? But your legs should actually, when you're running, because you're only pulling 2% of your body weight, your legs shouldn't be what's hard. It should be holding your upper body. So if you are injured or feeling injury, doing things like curve drills, where you can do like, start getting that strength back in the foot, muscle tendon elasticity. I really love this. Find somewhere, like I do this out in the parking lot a lot, but find somewhere you can start feeling what it actually feels like to fall forward. Because that's what's missing for a lot of us, is that sensation of falling. So when you do this, your feet will just feel so light. And if I can sense that and feel that, it's gonna really help me when I go out to run, that it feels the same. So sometimes the reason the calf is hurting is because you're trying to use it and it doesn't need to be used, right? And I think letting go of jumping is really, really challenging. All right, let me see real quick if someone has a question before I talk about the next question. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna talk about one more thing. So let me just say this as well. If your calves are hurting, it's not just, I'm just gonna keep running and try to just get through it. I would do a couple of things. One, if you have something like a ball, roll around that area. So we're really big at Runner X, of course, pain-free. Skill, strength, self-care, and it's a triangle. And so the strength and the self-care balance the skill. So if I'm hurting, then I'm going to do a little bit more on the self-care part to balance up to the skill. So especially if my calf is hurting, you're going to do things like roll the bottom of your foot, roll the calf. So instead of thinking of just stretching, because that's what people think of first, I'm like, first, before you stretch, get in there. Use your fingers, self-massage. Can I find a trigger point? You know, really work on making sure you have full range of motion. Adding in ankle mobility exercises. And just keep it really simple. If you go through our Runner X reboot that's on YouTube, I have all of those exercises. If you go through it, there's skill, strength, and self-care, and all of them support your running. So all of this kind of stuff is in there. But keep in mind, you can still keep moving, right? You don't have to stop moving. It's so important that you understand, I can practice running without running. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to talk about what if I'm just getting really fatigued. So I'm not hurting, but my legs are really heavy, and I cannot maintain this cadence that you keep talking about. So someone asked me the other day, you know, 180 to me feels really fast, and someone else said my legs are getting tired. So just very quickly, the 180 is from exercise physiology, and it's the minimum, it's a baseline, it's a minimum standard to use muscle elasticity. We want to use muscle elasticity. So what happens then is, in the beginning, many of us like set a metronome, and then you're like, so here's 180. But I'm not going anywhere. And if I just sat here also in place trying to pull at 180, I would also get tired. So keep in mind that you've got to kind of understand that the traveling part, you have to practice first by just sensing what is falling, right? So first, that's what I tell you, use a wall. Use something that you know will catch you. Because it's very strange to tell yourself, fall, and your body's like, no, see? So first mentally, right? So that way you understand that the 180 is a response. Meaning when I'm just, if you simply fall forward, your foot will actually pick up at about that cadence. See? Up, up, up. So up, 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 up. You see? Fall. There's a natural rhythm in running. And some of us have to work on it a little bit in the beginning because many people have less cadence or lower cadence, and it's only because of one reason. Because instead of thinking up and allowing gravity to take them forward, they are trying to create movement with their legs, or they're trying to travel with their legs. So everyone's either trying to increase stride length by reaching, right? Or they're pushing off the back, right? So when I first start pulling, you're pulling, but you still don't have the fall. So then you're just doing this. Up, up, up. And this is tiring. But you at least have the right thought, and that's a great place to start. So guys, I'm just going to tell you this. If you're getting really fatigued, again, not winded, because winded you can work with. Fatigued and tired in the legs, then you've got to start to think to yourself, am I falling? Find a fall point ahead of you. Open yourself up to it, even thinking it. Because you can run in place all day. Just tell yourself this. So how do I go forward? You got to just let it go. And it's so cool when you start to realize it's already there. Like pulling is a natural response. Your hamstring already knows how to do it. You're just teaching yourself basically like a reminder. So that's my answer. If your legs are getting fatigued, put the fall practice, make that important, right? If you're hurting, make the self-care important, but always go back into the skill. Okay, one last thing is someone asked me about speed. I'm trying to follow it with the fall pull, but then I'm running too fast. Or I'm trying to do the fall pull and I'm not getting anywhere. I've got both. So I just want to say that acceleration in running, speed, is from that fall element. So it's always going to be pose, fall, pull. If you want to run faster, you have to hold a higher angle of fall, and you have to pull your foot quicker. And this is cool because I just showed you it doesn't have to be higher. So anybody, for any speed, can practice the same, basically the same movement, which could just be a change of support. You see how all my weight's here, now it's here. How quick can I change support? Without putting a lot of effort in, so that when you're running and you want to run faster, no matter where you're starting from, you will feel that fall, but your foot will feel, really it's light and quick in the foot. But first you've got to work on the sensation of what is pulling, what does that feel like, and then you add that fall to it, and I'm telling you, then it starts to all come together. So it's a lot of fun. You're going to run a little bit faster in the beginning. That's okay. Don't try to hold it. Just try to feel for a minute. And then soon you'll find that you are in control. You control your fall and your speed, and then you just play with the breathing. All right, guys. Thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. And of course, you can go through that reboot, like I said, on the YouTube. We are opening up the membership. So if you're ready to really come in, 12 weeks of coaching, watching you run. I get to watch your drills, your running. It's a lot of fun, so hope to see you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.